Hello, and welcome to the Sonic Shuffle, a random and holistic Sonic lore podcast. I am Devon, one of the students.
I'm Morg, the other student.
And I'm Dan, the teacher. We're going through, the second half of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The Sonic and Knuckles half.
There was not as much Knuckles as I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was hoping for infinitely more Knuckles.
Indeed. Let's see. We have a bit of Sonic news. So, a few days prior to this recording, set photos were released of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie set. And among these images, we've seen gun vehicles, gun being the famous military organization from Sonic Adventure 2 and others, as well as a stand-in model for Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. We have a hard confirmation Knuckles is in the movie.
Hey!
Nice.
I can't wait for him to be
Tails.
duped again.
Yeah.
Oh, God. My dude is too gullible.
My dude is a himbo, he can't
Yeah.
help it.
I feel like he's he's not nice enough to be a himbo in, most games.
That's true.
Like he is in Sonic Shop. Or Sonic Boom.
He is on our show.
As far as other news goes, there's been some questionably accurate label rumors going around for merch and stuff. Looks like there may or may not be a whole bunch of new plushes coming out, but there's no hard confirmation, and some of these seem like deep pulls like Emerald and Mephiles. But, on the other hand, it is the 30th anniversary, so if you wanted to do a deep pull, now would be the time.
Isn't the second one you listed, in one of the newer games, though?
Mephiles is one of the villains of Sonic 06. Hang on.
Oh, I was thinking... Okay, I was thinking of something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Which is why I'm here.
Let me see. I think that's it for news. So, I will talk a little bit more about Sonic and Knuckles. I believe I mentioned before the general thing about the lock-on technology, but one other thing it can do is there are actually two other games that you can play using the lock-on cart. Of course, there's Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but then there's Knuckles the Echidna in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which lets you do exactly what that sounds like. Not with Sonic 1, didn't have that kind of tech yet. And you could also, if you hook it up to a incompatible cart, it would bring up this, screen of, I think it's Sonic, Eggman, and Knuckles, waving their fingers no, and it says no way. But there's a secret mode you can access through this called Blue Sphere, which is just a whole bunch of challenge levels for the special stage in these games.
Was there any secret game that you can lock onto that would actually do something with the and Knuckles cartridge?
Nothing other than Blue Sphere, which it just has a secret error game. But yeah, that's it.
I was thinking based on the name though, and the fact that this is the Sonic and Knuckles part, that there would be more Knuckles,
yeah,
that you could play as, or he would replace Tails or something.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know why that's what I thought. Or, like, I was like, maybe Tails gets kidnapped or some shit. Fuck.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't realize it was just, like, an extension of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole new set of levels. Like, also, if you just put in, like, the base Sonic and Knuckles cart by itself, you can play through just these levels as either Sonic or Knuckles.
Oh, you can play as Knuckles.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have Sonic 3 and Knuckles hooked up, you can also play through the Sonic 3 levels as Knuckles.
Okay.
Yeah. The Knuckles run of, like, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is neat because it's got a whole bunch of alternate paths, like, stuff that Sonic would normally be able to go through, or stuff that Sonic wouldn't be impeded by because Knuckles isn't there to impede him, are different. Like there's a whole bunch of alternate paths. The bosses are all, like, either Metal Sonic piloting a mech or possibly an Egg Robo, which we'll get to. But for now, we pick up where we left off with Sonic 3. The little platform Sonic and Tails fought Dr. Robotnik on has fallen to the ground, as well as the Death Egg. And they find themselves in a new place on Angel Island called the Mushroom Hill Zone. The Mushroom Hill Zone is a variant on, like, the whole, like, green forest thing, because, like, this one's, like, a full-on mushroom forest.
And Sonic hates it there, because it's only mushrooms.
He's like, I'm not Mario, fuck you.
He says it's my last ring and it's to the mushroom zone.
Yeah, there's a lot of bouncy mushrooms everywhere. You can, like, jump on them.
Jim Carrey is there.
Jim Carrey's definitely there. There's a lot of, like, fun, weird little assets in here. Like, there are these enemies that'll, like, throw mushrooms at you and send you flying around. There are, like, these, like, seesaw pulleys that like you have to pull down on to get you to lift you up.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Some
of the mechanics in these games, like, to get you further in it, were, like, interesting.
Yeah. Also, very shortly after Sonic and Tails get there, they get a bit of a plot beat. They see Knuckles sneaking out of a secret passage and pressing a button to close it back. The button's on the outside, so it's not particularly hard to get in there.
You break into Knuckles' house.
Yeah, this is Knuckles' house.
You break into Knuckles' house. He locks the door behind him and you say, nope.
Let me in! Let me in!
This is what you get for hiding your key under the mat, Knuckles.
But Sonic is led into, like, enters one of the, the usual big rings that teleport you to a special stage. But this time, it takes Sonic and Tails to the Hidden Palace Zone, which is actually a cut area from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, made a real area in this game.
It was cut?
Also, yeah. It was originally going to be in Sonic 2, but they didn't have enough space. There is, like, assets remaining in, like, Sonic 2 that, if you, like, dig around, you see things like, oh, there was going to be a Hidden Palace Zone. But, yeah. Yeah, so in the Hidden Palace Zone, all of the Chaos Emeralds that Sonic collected up to this point float in the air and sort of, I guess, reposition themselves amongst the Super Emeralds. Sonic can no longer go supersonic, but if he completes each, Blue Sphere challenge, he unlocks something even greater. He unlocks hypersonic.
I was gonna say, what is this, Super Saiyan 2 Sonic? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sonic goes even further beyond.
Why did they even bother calling it hypersonic?
So, now whenever you enter one of the big rings, you go to the Hidden Palace Zone, and you can just select whichever of the 7 emeralds to jump on and enter a special stage.
The special stages seem very same.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're supposed to be more challenging than the Sonic 3 ones, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's, let me think. Oh, yeah, so hypersonic. I'll just talk about that now. Like I said before, it's to go even further beyond. Sonic glows the colors of each of the emeralds. He has this it's like all of the stuff with regular Supersonic, but more so. He goes even faster. He leaves these after image trails behind him. If you do it if you jump twice, he does this sort of almost like a homing attack, proto-homing attack, where he jumps forward and all of the enemies on the screen die. And also I think he's even less immune, even more immune to death. I don't remember. I think Supersonic can drown, but Hypersonic can't, or something like that.
Oh, cool. They both fly, right? So I would think it'd be hard to drown if you could fly.
Yeah. Yeah. You jump even higher, move even faster. It's crazy powerful. But as for the rest of Mushroom Hill Zone, the mini-boss is a lumberjack robot. Actually, let me real quick. I should have checked this beforehand, but let me see if there are things in if there's a manual I can refer to. Oh, here we go. Bosses in Sonic and Knuckles. Excuse me. Alright, I'm just gonna cut all that out. Now, according to Sonic Retro, apparently all of these have their own names. So, the mini-boss for that Sonic faces off here is named Hey Ho. Hey Ho is a lumberjack robot.
Hey.
They attack by,
Let's go.
chopping big blocks of woods. Yeah. Let's see. It's what else? You're constantly chasing it. It's sort of like a thing with it. After you beat this mini boss, you actually you start Act 2, you run into Knuckles. Knuckles hits a switch, and Sonic and Tails get sent flying up into a now fall-themed version of the Mushroom Hill Zone. And yeah, they go through the level, and eventually they reach this, they reach the boss, they reach this, weird satellite projector thing, and it reveals that this, fall-time Mushroom Hill Zone is like an illusion or something.
Yeah.
And they fight Dr. Robotnik. This boss is called the Jet Mobile. You're constantly chasing Dr. Robotnik as he's like flying away from you, and you have to jump around and avoid these like spike traps that are in parallax scrolling trees.
I really like this boss. I really like they
Yeah.
did something with the whole Sonic actually runs, because normally they just put you in like a small room. This one is like, yo, you have to fight a boss while also running as fast as you can. And like paying attention to where you're going.
Yeah, this actually, I think, becomes like a thing over the course of Sonic games. Like, Sonic Advance 2, especially, like, all the bosses are like that. There's definitely other bosses that function like this. There's, actually, I mean, that's sort of the basis of a couple phases of the final boss.
Yeah, I was like, I think that shows up more than once.
Yeah. So, Sonic beats Dr. Robotnik, and he sees the ship from before. It's the flying battery, and he jumps on into the next zone, the flying battery zone. The music in this one fucking whips. It's really good.
It's cool. I had to listen to some of it sped up in order to like watch it all before this, but
the nightcore cover of a fucking the nightcore Sonic and Knuckles album.
Yes.
It's how Sonic would listen to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely got some, like, Metropolis Zone vibes, but it's, got more of, like, it's a much more industrial level. There's, like, all sorts of, like, cool things to, like, climb on and run through. Like, there's rungs, there's floating platforms, there's, like, these sort of, like, spinning, round cages that you can run through. I think these were in, like, Sonic 2 as well.
I like how most of the gates that block your path as you're running through here are just drill bits for some reason.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of, like, drills and stuff. Yeah.
Like the implication someone's just drilling a giant hole through this wall as you're trying to run by.
Right. The engineering skills of Dr. Robotnik are beyond any human conception.
Beyond compare, beyond comprehension.
I shall now make a giant drill!
Yeah.
To pierce
also, like, a recurring goal for Dr. Eggman, it's not always his goal, but one of the main goals, generally speaking, is to start up his own theme park called Eggman Land.
My dude just wants to make Kaiba Land. My dude just wants to make, like,
my
theme park.
My guy just wants his own theme park, and is that truly such a crime?
Is that a crime?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a crime to want a theme park of yourself?
He doesn't seem to know there's a way to do it that doesn't involve crime.
He seems to need, like, to torture small animals in order to do it. For some reason.
Well, hiring a good workforce is very difficult in this economy.
So, the mini-boss for this one is called Gapsule. It is a fake end-of-stage capsule. It, like, you jump on it, and then it, like, opens up, and, that's not a bunch of animals, that's a robot. Actually, there are a bunch of, like, fake end-of-stage capsules throughout these levels.
Yeah, there was one that made robots come out of it.
Yeah, I kind of love that, because, you know, he's he's got to make him somewhere. He's got to keep him somewhere.
Right.
I love the implication that when he's keeping them like at his factories or his ships or whatever, he just fills them with like robots instead of regular animals.
They're the test dummies.
If this can hold a robot, it can hold a rabbit.
Yeah, the way Capsule works is, like, it opens up, it's got a pair of eyes, it's got these, like, spiked ball and chains. You have to, like, trick it into hitting itself.
Yeah,
by, like, standing on, like, the release button. It's pretty easy, it's a fun twist. After that...
I like how it angrily looks at you.
Oh yeah, it's like always looking at you while you're doing this.
It's just so mad.
Okay, so we proceed into Act 2. I think Act 2 has like some more outdoor sections. Let me and eventually we get to a point where Dr. Eggman is doing a trick he had in Sonic 2 where he traps you in a room and fires a laser at you. You actually can't hit it. I think it's like above your like maximum jump height. So you just have to like avoid it while it like closes in. Eventually, the machine breaks down and Sonic escapes. And proceeds to the actual boss, which is Hang Mobile. Hang Mobile is a big ol'... like, it's Dr. Robotnik on, like, this weird pulley robot, or whatever. It's, like, latched onto these railings you're walking around on. And, like the handholds are like spiked, so you gotta avoid those.
He swings around, and you have to jump on him when he swings up.
He's getting invested in gymnastics.
Yeah, he's doing some gymnastics. Oh, he's got like a little flamethrower on top of him, just to like make it even harder.
Really competitive gymnastics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so after Hang Mobile, Sonic, like, basically just jumps off the plane and ends up in the next zone, Sandopolis zone.
I really, like, enjoy how he gets around in this one. Like, I don't know if it's any fun in the game, but I like how it looks.
Oh yeah, it's pretty fun. Like he gets to like jump around. There's lots of like little fun vehicular parts, pseudo vehicular.
This might be my favorite stage in the game.
Rock climbs down too. It might be mine too, actually.
Right.
Sonic is also so brave for the parts where he just like falls into quicksand to get to the next part of the stage.
Yeah. Either falls through quicksand or climbs up through quicksand waterfalls.
Truly so brave.
Yeah, there's like quicksand everywhere that basically acts like a waterfall. I don't think you can drown in it or anything like that. But
he can ride some of the sand up.
Yeah.
And, like, that's neat.
Yeah, there's slides like the ones in like many other classic games, where it's looping and you have to jump out of it. Let's see, there's like these rappelling sections where Sonic just like rappels down a building.
Yeah, that's specifically what I was thinking of when I was thinking of the, like, him getting around, because it looks like he's kind of like rock climbing. Like, when you, not when you're climbing up, but like when you're climbing down in rock climbing.
Yeah.
I think this game, they really just were committed to see how many fun ways they could let Sonic get around.
They get through Sandopolis Act 1. Also, Sandopolis, it's like a desert level. It's like these temples. I guess these are Echidna ruins.
I guess.
Yeah. And eventually they reach a pyramid where they face off against... Let me see the name. The Guardian.
You can just knock the Guardian into the sand.
Yeah, it's a sand guardian.
Sonic just pushes an ancient guardian who's been at this temple for thousands of years into the sand. This is probably Knuckles' friend.
Knuckles' only friend. Oh no.
Oh no.
This was the only dude who would hang out with Knuckles, and Sonic was like, "Hey, buddy."
Bye.
Was that your buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I pushed him in the
way
sand.
this boss works, totally invincible, can't be defeated through regular combat. Instead, what you've got to do is like get it to fall into the nearby quicksand pit. Like it'll leap forward. You can push it back a bit to make it a bit easier. And you destroy this noble Pyramid Guardian and enter Act 2 of Sandopolis, which is...
Poseidon inquires before him, but Sonic does not.
You end up in Sandopolis Act 2, and Sandopolis Act 2 is actually considered by many to be one of the worst parts of the Sonic and Knuckles half.
They're simply wrong.
Okay.
Well, you also didn't play it, so I feel like...
I think
I will stake my claim.
Alright, yeah, so Sandopolis Act 2 is this dark temple. Very early on, Sonic, releases these, ancient spirits that follow him around through the rest of the stage.
The Sand Guardian was simply guarding. Sonic ruins their home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, actually, I'm sure it's, a fucking pain to play, but I love the ghosts.
It's just, cute.
They're really cute.
I think they're very cute, and I think they're very funny, and they get bigger and bigger, when the lights are off. And they get closer
mean
to
faces.
you, and they just fly around. Yeah.
Throughout, as you...
They're like if,
you go.
Boo from Mario was, instead of, hiding his face when you turn around, it's like if he just kind of hovered around you and made funny faces at you all the time.
Aggressive Boo.
Yeah. Throughout this, level, the gimmick is, it gets darker and darker, and as it gets darker, the ghosts become bigger and more menacing, and in the last phase, they start attacking you constantly. So you've got to, constantly hit, these switches to relight the lamps. Yeah, so you are on, kind of a timer throughout this.
Yeah, that sounds annoying. I could see why that would get on your nerves, but I love to see the little ghosts. Just
they are very good to see.
I like their company. I think they're nice.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they attacked, because the person we watched never really got to the point where they were, full on attacking them.
That's also my thing about watching these games, is I can never get the full picture of, oh, this would be annoying to play, because it looks hard, because this person just kind of breezes through.
Yeah.
So I would take it at face value and say they look nice.
They look nice.
There is a theory between this game and the ever famous Pumpkin Hill and Ghosts in that and Sonic Adventure 2,
Are they
which is
Spooky Knuckles family.
I think the theory is that just Knuckles is afraid of ghosts.
Oh.
Maybe because he ran into these guys by accident one time.
Oh no.
His guardian used to tell him ghost stories to keep him away from these guys, actually.
Is he, wait, he's afraid of ghosts in Pumpkin Hill? Or
wait, actually, well, yeah.
It's been forever.
The lyrics in Pumpkin Hill are all about how he's totally not scared of these ghosts. It probably seemed crazy a graveyard theory. A ghost tried to approach him, he got leery.
It is funny, the way that these ghosts get out and start following Sonic is that you break a Robotnik like containment thing, which heavily implies Robotnik was here and he did see all the ghosts and just put them in a box.
Yeah. Robotnik figured out ghost-busting technology.
He just put them in a box and Sonic released them to his own detriment.
What if Robotnik used ghosts instead of small creatures to pilot his robots?
I feel like the energy source for that is a lot better, Robotnik.
Eventually, you get to a point where you reach the end of the zone and the ghosts stop bothering you.
Yeah, they just leave. Like,
yeah, they just
wanted to hang out, and you left.
Yeah, and you face off against the boss for this one, Egg Golem, or Egg Golem. Like as the name implies, it is Eggman in like a golem. Actually, there's a boss like this in Sonic Adventure 2, I think. I'm just trying to remember the strategy, because I did not pay attention to that part of the video.
I think you have to hit him in the face, and you can just hang out on his arm.
Yeah.
And keep hitting him.
Yeah. You gotta hit him in, like, the weak point. You climb up the arms to do that. So yeah, it is like in Sonic Adventure 2. Good.
Eggman was just chilling down this hole.
Mm-hmm.
What is he doing down here?
Just chilling.
He captured all the ghosts and said this. Captured the ghosts and said, "This is my house now. Sonic, don't let my ghosts out."
Mm-hmm. So Sonic beats him, and he proceeds into. Oh yeah, I think he like falls. Yeah. He falls down a hole?
He falls down yet another hole into the lava zone.
Yeah, the lava reef zone. Now this stage's got some sick music.
Yeah, it
does. So the first act, it's a big lava level. It's these caverns full of like lava. There's like these. Oh, one thing that's great is like there are these elevators that are like pulleys, and you have to spin dash to move them. Let's see. There's like switches. There's these enemies that have like gas clouds.
Yeah, those are weird.
Yeah, they like shoot a gas cloud on you, and it starts draining your rings, and you gotta like beat it to make it stop. There's like mole guys, and eventually you reach the boss of the zone, which is the mini boss, which is, let me see the name. It's the Heat Arms. I think this is actually like the hand of the final boss.
Hot
arms. It like moves around, it like tries to crush you, and you've gotta hit the individual fingers to break it.
So hot you fry an egg.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing there.
So Sonic beats this Heat Arm and ends up in Act 2. Now, in sharp contrast to Act 1, Act 2 is like these cool crystal caverns.
Yeah, rules.
It was...
Yeah.
I thought it was almost ice at first, and then I was like, well, this is lava, so...
Yeah, like, there's like crystals in the background that are like glowing with like light throughout the stage. And it does sort of lead into the next zone, which is the Hidden Palace zone. I
thought the next zone was... it might be. Never mind.
Yeah. So Sonic makes his way through. It's cool as hell. at the end of the stage, he climbs up these stairs, and Knuckles is at the top, and he pushes a boulder down Sonic. Yeah. Yeah.
Sonic's dead.
To be fair, Sonic did kill Knuckles' friend, the Guardian.
Yeah. Sonic gets knocked into this boss arena, which is basically hell. It's like this big lake of fire, and you can see the Death Egg in the background. It like flashes lights occasionally.
I don't know why Sonic EXE didn't talk about this level. This place is terrifying.
Yeah. There's like an auto-scroller as like he makes his way to the boss, which is the Hot Mobile. The player of this like long play we used kind of cheeses it, but basically, you have it's sort of a platformer boss. You have to like, you have to just like endure like these like waves of lava. You've got to like jump on these platforms, and occasionally like the Hot Mobile will drop spiked balls, and when they hit Eggman, it damages him. Also, like, you cannot attack it directly because it's super armored up. It's got spikes on top, so you can't jump on it. It's a challenging boss. And
watching this player cheese this boss is always funny because Tails is always just in the background, just constantly dying.
Yeah, that's kind of like a recurring thing in this game.
Like, Sonic is always just sitting chill, and Tails is just like, ah!
Is Tails
Is
Tails do any damage if you're not, like, having someone play as second player?
I think Tails can do damage. It's just kind of it's not as easy to, like, do it. You definitely wouldn't be able to do it in this boss fight because of how it works, but...
Right.
But, like, if you can get Tails to hit something, it will, hurt. Sonic beats Dr. Robotnik and proceeds down a tunnel into the Hidden Palace Zone. The Hidden Palace Zone is a very short zone. It's less of a boss it's less of a level and more like a series of interactive cutscenes. It's the temple from before, the one we've seen in the special stages. There are these teleporters that Sonic can jump into to teleport himself to different sections of the level. And eventually, Sonic reaches Knuckles, and gets to fight him directly this time.
Fight is a strong word.
Yeah, it's not a particularly hard fight. Especially not for this player we're using who is just hypersonic the whole time.
He backs him into a corner.
Yeah. What is of note is, in the background to this fight is this big mural, presumably made by Ancient Echidna Society, representing the final boss. It's like Supersonic fighting against what is clearly Dr. Robotnik, holding the Master Emerald. This actually will have lore implications down the road.
Interesting.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I could tell you it, if I want to tell you it now or wait until we eventually talk about, like, Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Battle and stuff, where it becomes relevant.
Then this game is, like, a prequel.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we knew, but, like, we did separate them as, like...
Yeah. Tongue stuck. Sonic beats Knuckles. They run ahead to find, like, the Hidden Palace Zone that they've kept running into every time they enter a big warp ring. And Dr. Robotnik is stealing the Master Emerald. Knuckles tries to, like, pull it away from him, but he gets electrocuted. You can see Knuckles' skeleton.
Very spooky.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Sonic.exe had this game ripe with material and it said no.
Yeah. So, like, Knuckles gets knocked out. The floor collapses under all three of you, and then Knuckles wakes up. And he leads Sonic and Tails to a teleporter that's been hidden off. And the three of them enter the Sky Sanctuary Zone. The Sky Sanctuary Zone is also kind of a lighter stage, but I think it only has one act.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah. We get another cutscene where the Death Egg, now powered by the Master Emerald, rises up out of the ocean, and out of it come the various robots that are fighting, that you fight throughout this stage. I would say in terms of lore implications, I guess Sky Sanctuary Zone is like some other sacred echidna place. Maybe it's like a big temple or something. And also, it is just in the sky. Like, normally Knuckles Island is like floating all the time, but this is just in the sky. There's like this, like, Knuckles like glides over a pit and opens a bridge up for you to cross over. And if you, like, wait long enough, he'll, like, point you towards where you need to go. So in this, like, sacred flying echidna temple, Sonic there's, like, clouds you can jump on. There's egg robos, which are literally a robot Eggman. And there are boss fights against Mecha Sonic. This is the third design that Metal Sonic takes form in. And
is this the edgiest one we've seen so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one other one that gets edgier, and that's not until, like, Sonic Heroes. So Mecha Sonic, like, fights you first by recreating boss fights from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. He's, like, the first boss from Sonic 1, with, like, the big wrecking ball, and then he's, like, the Metropolis Zone boss from Sonic 2, with, like, the little balloons.
That's cool for people who've played those games, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you fight him proper. He has, like, these cool backslides that he does to attack you. He, like, floats around. Fun fight. And then the ground starts shaking, and Sonic and Tails have to run up this big spire to enter the last stage of the game, the Death Egg Zone. The Death Egg Zone is this big labyrinthine level. It is enormous. It's like the biggest one in the entire game. There's all of these, like, weird challenges. There's, like, missiles, there's magnetic bridges, there's like this section in the first act where you, like, have to hit, like, these switches while constantly flying back and forth. It's very big. Like, I remember, like, when I played this, I would, like, time out because there's a 10-minute time limit in every stage, and, like, normally you only get to, like, maybe 3 or 4 minutes in, but, like, this is huge. It'll take you the whole damn timer.
Damn.
Oh yeah, there's like light bridges and stuff.
The light bridges look really cool.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, they look cool as hell. Like I said, or like Morg said before, like a big thing in like this game design is like it's cool. They saw how people felt like when people went into the tubes in like Sonic 2 and they were like, we gotta make as many ways for Sonic to go through things as possible.
I think Devon's
it looks cool as hell. And they face off against the mini-boss of this one, Red Eye. Red Eye appears to be just this giant HAL computer thing that you have to hit the eye to damage. After a certain point, it, like, breaks off into a second phase where it's, like, flying around, and you've got to, like, jump on these, like, very hard to balance on, spike balls. I have never beat Red Eye legit. I have always gotten all the emeralds and cheesed it.
That's kind of what this person did too, right? Like, it seems a lot easier if you're hypersonic.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you destroy this cool computer, and you enter the next stage. This one's got like some fucking Mario Galaxy stuff where you're like going upside down a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it for like the boss too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You like enter like these tubes and it reverses the gravity as you like fly through them. You're like, first you're on the floor, then you're on the ceiling, or vice versa. There's eventually you reach the boss. It's another it's another enemy that you can't attack directly. It's this, what's it called? Let me see. It is the Death Ball.
The Death Ball's Death Egg. Or the other way around. Whatever. The Death Egg.
Death Ball, the ball that eats. It's got these, like, big bumpers on it, so, like, if Sonic or Tails try to, like, jump into it, they'll just hit the bumper and can't attack. So, what you've got to do is, like, spin dash into, like, these little robots it shoots, it, like, sends out to attack you, and, like, they've got spikes on them, so when you spin dash into them, they fly into the guy and, damage him. And then you enter Act 3, and that's the real boss fight. This is... Okay, I'm looking at the official name. This is Kyodai Eggman Robo.
Kyodai?
Kyodai, yes. Sworn brother.
Oh, is that what that means?
I guess they mean, like, older brother or something.
Big brother is here for you.
Eggman Robo.
It is big Eggman.
Yeah. It's an even bigger mech than the one from Sonic 2.
Big gun.
Like, you have
himself.
They called it his big brother.
There's, like, three phases to this. You have to, like, attack individual parts of it to get through. So, like, the first phase, it's attacking you with its fingers, much like Heat Arms before. It goes up, the fingers go down, they hit you. If you can do it right, you can, like, spin dash back and forth on these guys, and it gets through it pretty easily. The second phase, it starts chasing you. And it's firing these giant lasers powered by the Master Emerald. You've got to, like, keep running so you don't fall down like the Death Pit. And also you've got to hit it in the back. It's really tricky.
It seems complicated.
Yeah. And then, oh, by the way, the final boss for this, really, really good music.
Yes.
And then you enter the third phase, where it's now Dr. Robotnik by himself carrying the Master Emerald. You've got to chase him down. And also you've got to be really careful with your jumps here, because when you attack him in this phase, if you angle yourself wrong, you might fall down the death pit. Like you're running through this like collapsing section of bridge. But if you are able to get through that, that is, well, mostly the final boss. If you didn't get all the emeralds, this is where the game ends. Like, there's like a whole thing about how the floating island's stuck. You can't get the Master Emerald back. But if you got all the Super Emeralds, or just the Chaos Emeralds and never turn them in, you get to face off against final weapon, the true final boss of this, in the Doomsday Zone. The Doomsday Zone, it's your Supersonic is flying through space, and has to chase down Dr. Eggman in like his Eggman mech, his Gundam. And there's like a first phase where you have to like fly around in this ship he's got and like redirect homing missiles into him. Then there's the second phase where you have to like chase him down and like just destroy him. And yeah, I would say it is easier than the last final boss, but it's quite an adventure, a Sonic adventure, if you will.
It's a pretty climactic ending.
Yeah.
Like, especially for, like, the games we've seen so far from this, like, era of Sonic.
Yeah.
This is the most, like, oh, you're fighting epic battle with Eggman. Most of them you just, like, oh, I beat one big mech and now he's running away. We're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, like, the real deal. That's how you know this is the big third game. And you eventually you beat Eggman. Supersonic flies back down to the planet with the Master Emerald in tow. Then turns normal as Tails, like, flying his plane, comes by to grab him and the Emerald in tow. And we get, like, the ending. They fly back to Angel Island. They drop off the Emerald. It starts floating again. You get this shot of, like, Knuckles with the Emerald in, like, Angel Island Zone. And you've saved the day. Congratulations. Here's a medley of all of the game's stages. Yeah.
So, here's a quick question. If Angel Island normally floats,
Yep.
and the one area we went to was like a floating temple area,
Yep.
does that temple normally sit on Angel Island and for some reason just didn't fall with it, or does that one just float above the already floating Angel Island?
You know, I don't know if they ever explain that. I choose to believe that this is like a separate location.
I choose to believe it floats.
Yeah.
I choose to believe it floats above the already floating island.
I mean, I don't know how deep, like, the lore gets for, like, Sky Sanctuary, and, like, I assume the deepest it would go is, like, the comics, but
yeah,
I don't think Ken Penders really plays video games, so he never talks about it. I'm sure Ian Flynn talks about it. I feel like Ian Flynn's gotta be talking about it. but I haven't gotten to whatever part in the comics where he would go into that sort of lore. So that sort of wraps up Sonic 3. I do want to give like a quick shout out to the final boss of the Knuckles campaign. So like in the Knuckles levels, it's like this alternate campaign. Like Knuckles is going through all the stages and he's trying to like get the Master Emerald back from Mecha Sonic, who you fight instead of Eggman during the boss fights.
Does Mecha Sonic kind of replace Knuckles doing funny stuff too?
Actually, no. The funny stuff doesn't happen, so instead you're just going through the way Knuckles normally would, without anyone ruining stuff. It's...
Okay, but I kind of like that explanation for why Knuckles keeps getting duped, because he just can't tell the difference between the Sonic robot and Sonic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, eventually, like, at the end, the final level, there's no Death Egg Zone for Knuckles. Instead, the final boss takes place in Sky Sanctuary. And what Mecha Sonic does is he taps into the latent power of the Master Emerald to become Super Mecha Sonic. The final...
Oh.
It's... Yeah. He, like, starts glowing golden. He's basically a Super Saiyan. He's basically Super Sonic. I don't remember how the fight goes, but I assume it's harder than the regular one.
Now I'm imagining, and this isn't related to Sonic, but I'm imagining if the Android Saga in Dragon Ball Z had Super Saiyan androids.
Oh, that would be dope.
That would rule, actually. I'm thinking about it.
So, that's it for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I will note, next time we roll Classic, we've actually gone through, like, all the, like, mainline classic Sonic games before, like, Mania.
Oh.
So, so what's left is, like, a lot of different spin-off games that we'll just explore throughout. We'll take a step back and go to, like, the Game Gear / what's it called? What the fuck was that Sega console called before Genesis?
Saturn?
Not Mega Drive.
Or is that...
No, Saturn's the one that comes after.
Oh, okay.
The Sega Master System.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a true Sega fan, obviously.
That's fair.
Fake gamer.
I know.
Yeah, we'll probably visit, like, side games. There's some that are more important than others. There's also Knuckles Chaotix. We'll probably talk about Sonic R and Sonic for the Fighters. And yeah, it'll be spin-offs from here on out until we eventually get to Mania.
Where does Sonic Shuffle fit in?
Sonic Shuffle, the video game, not the podcast, I believe takes place between Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Okay. Is it a modern... Or is it... Are we...
Yeah, it's a modern game. Yeah, so... Yeah. Yeah, my plan for, like, modern games is to, like, go Sonic 1, or Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, then visit some, like, spin-off titles in that era, like, I'm thinking Sonic Shuffle, Sonic Advance 1, maybe Sonic Advance 2, then Heroes, Battle, Advance 3, Shadow the Hedgehog, 06. And from there on, that's just the immediate stuff.
Wait, is it... I thought 06 was before Shadow, for some reason.
No, 06 takes place after Shadow.
Oh.
It's, like, very... Like, the Shadow the Hedgehog is basically... Shadow the Hedgehog has an arc that starts with Sonic...
He's introduced in 02, isn't he? Or in 2.
Yeah.
He first shows up in Sonic Adventure 2.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Then, like, he reappears in Heroes. I'm not exactly sure when battle takes place, but I would assume between Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog. And then, like, his sort of arc reaches this end point with Shadow the Hedgehog. And, like, 06 is, like, him, like, post-arc.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright. So, with that all said and done, let's check for questions.
Questione.
If you'd like to send in a question, you could either send it in to an Ask post on our Twitter at ShuffleSonic, or you can ask us anytime at your leisure at tongue stuck. Anytime at your leisure at our Discord server, which is accessible from the Twitter, or the episode description. I don't know why I'm muddling this thing up. Anyways,
you sleepy?
I did wake up from a nap, realizing I had a recording before we started recording.
I am also.
It happens to all of us.
I'm also sleepy, so this will happen in the future.
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah.
It has happened to me in the past on this very podcast.
Mm-hmm. So, let's start with the Twitter questions.
Got 3 of them.
Yeah. Our first question comes in from Jumpy at Process Layer, who asks, what is your fave track from the game? Which is more interesting to play as? What do you think the dialogue would have been in the game during the cutscenes?
I like the boss theme and the other.
Yeah.
The battery zone's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Sandopolis is one of my favorites, and then the boss theme.
I think Sandopolis is one of my favorite worlds.
Yeah.
I think the theme I like the most
might be
batteries, so...
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, my favorite track is probably Flying Battery Zone. Though the final boss... The big arm / final boss music is also really, really good. As the only one who has played the game, I don't think I've talked about how... I think I might have mentioned how Knuckles controlled the first time, but I don't think I might have missed some stuff. So, Knuckles... The way he controls is he has a lower jump than Sonic, but in exchange, he can like, if you double jump, he'll like go into a glide, and you can glide across like gaps and stuff. And also, if you like hit a wall while gliding, you'll start climbing the wall. It's neat.
I like it.
This can make certain boss fights harder just because his jump is lower, but it is quite fun. I would say Knuckles is more interesting to play as just through gimmick alone.
I can see that.
Yeah. Let's see. As far as like
dialogue,
I don't know. I don't know what I'd imagine it being.
I just imagine like Knuckles constantly taunting Sonic, you know, like when he's like doing like, or like being like, "Wow, you can't get past this, haha," or like, "You're a piece of shit."
Yeah, I like to imagine. I like to imagine whenever he's like shutting the gates on Sonic, of him just being like, "Look who's too slow," or something like, "Not exactly, you're too slow," and Sonic getting annoyed he's not getting it right.
Fast enough.
Knuckles.
And Sonic being like, "It's you're too slow," as he falls down a hole.
Okay.
Knuckles does say fuck when Eggman fucking zaps him and you see his skeleton.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even like an angry fuck. It's like, fuck.
It's like, fuck.
Yeah. That's why they couldn't put
fuck.
words in it, because he would have sworn, and then it wouldn't have been in a kid's game.
Yeah.
You get one per game, and it went to Knuckles.
Mm-hmm. Gosh Darn Rabbit, at Gosh Darn Rabbit asks, suppose the Sonic Knuckles cartridge would have worked on all games. What non-Sonic game would you slot in it to add Knuckles? I think we talked about this before.
I feel like we have, but I don't remember what we said. I'm gonna play fucking Hollow Knight with Knuckles.
Right.
I don't know.
Playing Hollow Knight with Knuckles, except instead of a Hornet, Knuckles is the one that just keeps cutting you off at different parts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Hornet just like doing a goofy mocking laugh as the vessel is like sent into like, I don't know, Deep Nest or something. I don't know the stages that well. Okay. I think we also got a Twitter question about this, more specifically being, what if it's a Sega Genesis game? Let me just check.
I don't.
I have to remember the Sega Genesis game.
Wait, no.
No,
Never
I mean,
mind.
Jasmine Marsh sent us
it.
questions, but not about that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Speaking of Jasmine, she asks, how do you feel about the Chaos Gemworld cave?
Gemworld?
Well, first of all, it rules.
It does.
The one, yeah. It looks cool.
I wouldn't know if all the crystals in there are imbued with Chaos Emerald power because they glow, but just like not as much.
That's a neat theory. Like,
what if the ones that like allow the island to float, but the Master Emerald is like giving the energy for it, like the main.
Right. Neat. Like,
yeah, that could be.
That's like a thing in like American comic lore. Like, they didn't really know that there were only 7 Chaos Emeralds, so the thing was, there are lots of different Chaos Emeralds, they're just very rare. And also, I think UK comic lore has its own thing where each emerald has its own like negative aspect to it. I don't remember all of the like deals with each of the emeralds, but like each emerald has its own like property.
Like a strength and a weakness.
Yeah. Let's see. Did the Knuckles cartridge predate other plug-and-play game modifiers like the Game Genie and Game Shark? No. I don't know how old the ones for the Genesis were, but like, plug-and-play been around for a while.
They've been around forever.
And also the Sonic and Knuckles came out relatively late in the Genesis lifespan, 1994. And how unstable would a Game Shark run of Sonic and Knuckles be in practice? 3 cartridges stacked on top of one another.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is how that works.
Incredibly unstable, but I want to see what glitches you can pull off.
I thought you put the Game Shark thing in first, and then take it out, and then put the game. Am I wrong? I'm gonna be honest with you, I've only used a Game Shark once, and it was somebody else's.
Game Sharks you plug in like the game to the Game Shark and then put it in your like. I think that was what you had to do for the DS.
Okay.
I don't remember fully. It's been 1,000 years, and my mind's blank.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like, yeah, that's got to be like one of the things that led to tool-assisted speedruns, I guess. Just being able to put in stuff like the Game Genie and the Game Shark and whatnot. Yeah, that's neat. That's it for Twitter questions. on our Discord, we got a couple questions. James the Cat Girl asks, has Knuckles blessed your life before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knuckles in general? Sure.
Yeah. I like to think about Himbo Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles blesses my day every life when my life every day when I see him.
Sometimes I hate him, but usually he blesses me.
Kitty the Cat, friend of the show Violet, asks, if you could add Knuckles to... Oh, wait, re-ask this one. Knuckles to any new... Oh, wait! Any new installment of any series other than Sonic. So, like, we get a new video game, and Knuckles is in that one.
Put Knuckles in Monster Hunter.
Put Knuckles in Smash, finally! Jesus!
Put Knuckles in Smash! We've waited long enough.
It's been long enough.
But also put Knuckles in Monster Hunter somehow.
What
no
if he
explanation.
Was one of the monsters?
I was hoping he would be like one of the townsfolk, but there's never an explanation for why he's there.
Like why he looks like that?
Yeah, no one brings it up, no one says anything. They just say he's not from around here.
They don't try to be like, oh, let's make a weapon out of him. Or they're just like, oh yeah, he's just like
his name is just like the Distant Hunter or something. The Foolish Hunter or something. The Gullible.
I'm thinking... Oh, I figured it out. It's Yakuza. I want Knuckles in a Yakuza game. Not as like an arcade game or as a picture in the video game, but Knuckles himself visits... I guess if it's a new one, it would probably be Yokohama.
Doesn't like the newest one you get like
party members?
Members of party members.
Yeah, you get party members.
Knuckles
so
be your party member.
Yeah, Knuckles. Yeah,
that'd be pretty good.
He's
pretty good.
Tank. Yeah.
Yeah. Knuckles is just like something like he's just in every game now. Like he's just like a trainer in Pokemon, or like.
And
Knuckles
would that be so bad?
I don't know. He's like. Yes. No. Knuckles like is like an NPC you run into in Zelda that you get like fucking like side quest from. I don't know.
Yeah. Drashura asks, you finally met 3 robot Sonics. 2 Mecha Sonic models between this game and Sonic 2, and Metal Sonic. Which one is your favorite?
I guess we've also seen Pseudo Sonic, but that's not in the game.
I gotta say this Sonic because I just love how hardcore edgy he is for no reason.
Probably. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I kind of just like how edgy he is. Like, you're gonna...
Also the fact that he pilots his own badniks and just harasses Knuckles for no reason. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I just like to see Metal Sonic. I love his design.
Yeah. That's fair, yeah.
And our last question comes from Casey, who asks, what's a notably large final boss you like?
From any game or from Sonic?
I guess from any game.
I like am totally blanking on big bosses. Like just
someone who's large.
I'm just like I've never played Shadow of the Colossus, but isn't that just all of the bosses in that game?
Yes.
Let's see. Who's big?
This is gonna be an incredibly controversial take.
Uh-oh.
And it will be a very wrong opinion for me. I like in Dark Souls 1, I like the Witch of Izalith. I like that it's a big funny tree with a giant giant demon sticking out of it. Terrible boss, terrible level to play through. I like its look.
I like Hooktail from Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Well, actually any of the tails. Any of the dragons, because they're just like too big for the fucking screen. in their head, and they're just like well made, like because they're very like heavy on the paper mache, like, or like, I guess honestly it's not even an origami game, but like the hook, the dragons are kind of like origami-y more than a lot of the other Paper Mario things are. So I love them.
Yeah. I am looking at my list of all-time favorite games, and I think I'm gonna go with the final boss of Kirby Planet Robobot.
Oh,
yeah.
Kirby bosses also have really good big bosses. They always have like really good end big bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Like even just in like Nightmare Dream, like that big old guy is like a planet. You're just like fighting planets in some of those games.
Yeah,
that rules.
Yeah, like that rules.
You're like, I'm gonna fight the devil.
Kirby has taken down multiple gods and will continue to take down more as the years go on.
Truly.
So that about wraps it up. Let us roll for next week. That is a 4. Oh, we're talking about more UK comics. I was just thinking about how it's been a while since the last time we talked about UK comics. Yeah, so next time we're gonna go through some UK comics. I think we'll go through like a couple 2-parters and this like one side series that's about Tales. That isn't super deep to the lore, but is interesting in how unconnected to the lore it is.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that, I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places, and you can find all those places at linktr.ee/big_challenges. From there, you can find my Twitter at Bigger Challenge. The other 2 podcasts I do, which are the Pod of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. We are nearly at the end of season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh GX. I think there'll only be like one more episode by the time this goes up.
I cannot believe you guys are almost done with season 1.
Yeah. To be fair, the way I scheduled everything up, the last 3 episodes of season 1, like the last 3 season 1 podcast episodes are all 3-parters, so we are covering like 9 episodes.
That's true.
But yeah, I cannot wait until you hear like the episode we just recorded, because in the span of time between me watching the episode and me being on the recording, I found out about the perfect meme that encapsulates how I feel about that whole set of episodes.
Excellent.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm a little.
You can. Yeah. You can also listen to Strangers Fiction, an actual play podcast focused on one-shots. We are working our way through our interstitial AP that we spent a year working on. By the time this goes up, you should be able to hear episode 3 of Lark Souls. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it before, but it is called Lark Souls. I'm not sure why Jasmine went for that name, but that's what it is. There are a lot of pun names in that campaign. I'm trying to remember what episode 3 was. So let's see, 2. Yeah, I guess it'll be a surprise to me too. But yeah, you can also visit at Xbox_holiday. Oh, fuck, I forgot to mention. I actually, earlier today, recorded an episode of Fear Baiting. That is Sarah's horror movie podcast. Sarah and I, we talked about The Stuff, an amazing cult horror movie. It's batshit. I love it. But last but not least, you can visit at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. Let me check this. Let's see. This will be going up on May 1st. Oh! This will be going up on May 1st. Happy International Workers of the World Day, Xbox.
Happy May Day, Xbox.
Happy May Day.
Okay, that's everything for me. Morg, where can we find you?
You can find me at Haunting the Morg on Twitter. That's Haunting the MORG. You can also find me on my other podcast, Departure Lounge, an airplane-themed Hunter x Hunter watch podcast, where I go through it for the first time, and I am guided by my co-pilots through it, who've seen it before. You can, by the time this is out, you can also find me on, an episode of Wow, Cool Robot, where me, Max, Sarah, Colin, and Jake all talk about the fucking buck-wild movie of Char's Counterattack to finish off the Universal Century seasons, I guess, of Wow, Cool Robot. And it is a buck-wild 3-hour fucking riot of a time.
Oh boy.
It's good.
Fantastic.
Even if you're like, well, I haven't seen the rest of it. Well, you don't have to. Honestly, just listen to that episode. It's just so it was so fun to record. God. Anyway, so, Devon, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at GroovinGhastly, and also a Hunter x Hunter podcast called Going Will Hunting, where I go through it with my hosts for not the first time, but we have a fun time anyway. And that is at Going Will Hunting on Twitter.
Yeah. And you can visit us at Shuffle Sonic on Twitter. You can visit our Discord from said Twitter, or in the episode description of every episode. And you can find us on noisepace.xyz. Noisepace.xyz is a Canadian-based, hence the Z, podcast incubator with lots of shows that you can enjoy, including several that we've already listed off, like Pot of Greed and Wow, Cool Robot.
And Fear Baiting.
This week's alphabetical shout out is Hamsteak Podcast. Lydia and Elizabeth Leaf Crunch work their way through Homestuck. Lydia's familiar, Elizabeth isn't. It looks like the last update was in August of last year, but I've heard it's pretty good. I've never listened to it myself. But yeah, it seems to update pretty sporadically. Okay. So. And that wraps us up for the week. And as always, Sonic is real, he is strong, and he is my friend.
Sonic is the only blue live that matters.
The only one.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.